Hey friends, welcome back to Big Nate's Whiskey Lounge. I am Nate, coming at you today with one of my favorite whiskeys of 2021. Now, I'm not going to do a list like a lot of the other channels do. Frankly, they have better collections than me. They have better palettes. They're more interesting when they do videos. So go watch them. But I'm going to give you one of my favorite whiskeys of 2021. And that's going to be Barrell Seagrass. Now, this actually ranked number 2 in Fred Minnick's whiskey list of 2021. I was very surprised to see it there. This was also another YouTube channel. Check out is Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. I believe they ranked this number 1 for their favorite rye of 21. And I agree. This is my favorite rye of 2021. Now, I know I had Midwinter Night's Dram and I had a few other things, but these were probably really the only 21 releases that I had that other than just having regular ryes. But Midwinter Night's Dram is fantastic, so make sure, and I look forward to collecting that as the years go on. But Barrell Seagrass is such a unique whiskey that other people have put it in their high end of top rye categories, and I understand why. However, I wouldn't have done that. And I mentioned that to Steven of Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans when he said that. I said, I totally agree that that is probably the best, but it's so unique that I feel bad about comparing it to regular rye. So the reason why is because this is rye whiskey finished in Martinique rum, Madeira, and apricot brandy barrels. So we got rum, wine, and brandy barrels being used to finish this rye. And this rye comes from Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, and Canada. So it's got Kentucky rye, it's got MGP rye, it's got Tennessee rye, and it's got Canada rye. So, and Barrell Craft Spirits, I have another bottle behind me of the Dovetail, which is their finished bourbon. I'll do a video on that sometime, and then I'll do a head-to-head video. They do, from everything that I've seen, from their bourbon to a lot of their other things, they're all cask strength. And so that's really cool, because this is one of the bottles. This run was 4,988 bottles. So it's like 5,000 bottles from this run in existence. And it does come in at cask strength at 118.4 proof or 59.2% ABV. It gives a little bit of story on the back. Barrell Craft Spirits is from Louisville, Kentucky. They are, in my opinion, one of the best distilleries, craft distilleries, at giving blending one of the names that it has. So in the whiskey community, a really good blender is going to kill it in the market. So I think of High West with everything that they do. Lost Monarch as a Burr Rye is such a hitter bottle at under $40. If you don't have one, find it. It's fantastic. That's a good, and then also High West Distillery. Did I say High West or did I say Redwood? So I apologize, I'm stumbling over my tongue. So I meant the two, Redwood Empire, High West, killer blenders. Also Smoke Wagon. Their uncut, unfiltered is so fantastic. So, but Barrell is kind of in the same line as they're doing really cool things with blends, and they're giving blends the name that it deserves. And so now you'll know that this bottle is less than half full. And the reason because I've enjoyed it. I have shared this bottle with several people. We had this is a good summer pour. So even though I like rye as a winter pour, this would be an anytime pour. But I honestly would say just drink it, not just, but it's a great summer pour. And even though it's cask strength, it doesn't come in that way. So let's give this a nose. Oh. I get apricot on the nose. Now, keep in mind that these are finishings. So they're not flavorings. It's not like there's going to be some essence of the former liquid from the barrel in there, but not as much as you think. And so, but still being in that barrel is going to give some influence, but it's not a flavoring. But I am getting some of the brandy, a little wine funk. I'm not a huge rum guy, so I haven't ventured down there. I have a friend of mine who has really good rum, and he offers it to me a lot. I'll be honest with you, I've passed on it till now, and I don't mean to be rude when I do that, and I'm not when I do it. It's at the cigar lounge. He has it there. He says, hey, if you want some, grab some. But I'm usually drinking something already, so I'm able to get around it. But one of these days I gotta take him up on that and just try it. So I'm not gonna pick up rum because I'm not familiar with rum. It does not, on the nose, hit as much as far as alcohol goes as you would think. It doesn't immediately hit at 118.4. Like, it's not, I'm not going like, oh crud, because we're going 118. We're talking a bunch of cask strengths. Like, we're talking like Elijah Craig B521. We're talking higher than Wild Turkey Rare Breed. We're talking like the Maker's Mark are coming in at like the 55%. So this is higher than that. But to have a nose that doesn't immediately jump out as high, that high proof is really interesting. And the color on it is cool. So because of all the finishings in it, I'm not picking up a rye. I'm picking up a little rye spice, but I wouldn't go like, oh, this is a rye. I would maybe say a high rye bourbon or a low bourbon or a low rye low rye. We don't know the actual, because this comes from 4 different places, we don't actually know the mash bill. It's all right. We don't always need to know that. Proof is there in the palate. Man, why is it so good? Now, as far as pricing goes, this is a $75 to $95, maybe $100 bottle. There's really only one store in my area that consistently sells most bourbon, most barrel products. I can find a couple here or there at different stores. There's one particular store that has the majority. I can find a barrel bourbon, I can find the Dovetail, I can find the Seagrass, is it Armida? I can find them at, like, probably at any given time between 5 and 10 barrel products on their shelf. And they're all typically priced at about $90. I believe I purchased this for $85, but this was probably about 10 months ago, 8 to 10 months ago, because I remember having it. I think I bought it in June of 21 maybe, because I had seen some people do a thing on it, and I was like, well, you know what? I remember exactly when I bought, not the exact, it would have been after my first podcast town hall. So if you know who the podcast is, I'm wearing their hat. Podcast is Will and Grease. One of their Patreon rewards is at a certain tier. You get to be in a monthly Zoom meeting with them. So I've gotten to interact with Will and Grease. While I am going to meet them in person at Whiskey Weekend, I'm able to build somewhat of a relationship with them now, as well as other members that you see popping up in their live feed, in their live streams. You'll see me there too. I mod on their channel, it's so cool to build that relationship. We've had some. They indicate when they're doing the regular show that you should join Patreon so you can do the after party, because then Grease and Will open up a little bit and it's not as regulated. That's true. But the town hall level is just a completely different level of insanity, and it is fantastic. It is awesome. We meet new people every month. But the reason why I mention that is because my first town hall meeting, one of the guys in that meeting was drinking this, and I had heard of it, and he just was over the moon about how good it was. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grab it. So like a couple weeks later, I saw it, I grabbed it. So that was probably June. That was probably May or June of 2021. And then I've shared it with several people. I've mentioned I have a buddy of mine that we bought the Midwinter Night's Dram together, and I've mentioned him a few times. I have yet to share this with him. Now, he loves barrel bourbon. That he has gotten into that. So I gotta bring this and Dovetail to the Cigar Lounge one of these days. And have him try it. Now, as I'm saying this, when you see this, this won't be the case anymore, but as I'm doing this, he went home. He lives about 3 hours away. He's a college student. He went home for the holidays, and he's coming back. So as I shoot this, he's not here, but he will be when you see this video. So maybe by then he'll have tried this. So There's a bit of rye spice, but so unique. There's fruitiness, maybe a little bit of a bubble gumminess. It's perfumey and floral. It just hits on all of those. There's some cinnamon in there. I'm getting a cotton candiness out of this. I don't like cotton candy. It's not bothering me that I'm getting the taste on this though. There are some foods that I dislike simply because of practicality purposes, not because I dislike them. Cotton candy is one of them. Sticky, messy. I don't dislike the taste. I just don't eat it because of I haven't eaten it since I was a very young kid. At a very young age, I decided I didn't like it. But again, and that was part of the thing with marshmallows too. You'll have seen a video come out last week for Masters Keep 1, Wild Turkey Masters Keep 1, and I had avoided toasted oak because of marshmallowiness. But when I drank that, that was fantastic. This is a definite buy. Now, it's a $90 bottle, so I want to keep that in mind. Not everybody is in the position to get a $90 bottle, especially when you can get 3 really good bourbons or even really good ryes for $30 each. And for $90, you have 3 bottles versus 1. So you triple your product. And I get that. However, this is a very special bottle. I would recommend, if you're not in the position where $90 is, you can just go do that. Save up for it. If $90 is fine, but you're kind of thinking other things, and this is just so unique, so different, you just didn't think again, grab it. This is really good. Like I said, this is my best rye of the year. Midwinter Night's Dram comes in at a very close number 2, but this takes it just because of how unique it is. I hope they continue to do it. I appreciate Fred Minnick putting this at number 2 in his list. I also appreciate Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans putting this. It was either number 1 or number 2, but I think it was number 1 because he and I talked about it a couple times too. But thanks for watching Big Nate's Whiskey Lounge. This has been Barrell Seagrass, and I appreciate you sticking around, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.